The college football experience, Notre Dame Fighting Irish 2023 season preview episode on the Sports Gambling Podcast Networks, brought to you by our very own Patreon. Yes, score exclusive perks, content, and contests, including our NFL win totals contest with $1,000 prize to the top winner on that. Join today exclusively at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Patreon. Once again, that is sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Patreon. And remember, as always, folks, to let it ride.
Hey everybody, Joe Theismann here. You're listening to SGPN. So do this, let it ride.
How did you get that guy out there?
Yes, yes, yes. Woo! Welcome to the college football experience. Notre Dame Fighting Irish 2023 season preview. I'm excited to talk Irish football as year 2 of the Marcus Freeman era will be beginning in what I feel like just like 3 weeks in Ireland, and I'm excited to bring on our guest here in a second. Yes. If you're watching right now, he will be there. But first, you're wondering maybe if you're just tuning in for the first time, who the hell's this maniac yelling at you? Well, my name is Colby Swigga Database Dan, aka Pick Dundee. That's not a pick. This is a pick.
He was raised in the land down under, where a man thinks on his feet, speaks with his fists, and lives by his wits.
When Dundee happened, he was a superstar.
I smoke and I drink, and I don't have stress, and I'm healthy.
Yes, we are talking Irish football. I'm excited to talk about it. I'm going to have also later in the episode, Michael Barker, a.k.a. College Football Campus Tour, going to talk a little bit about his travels to South Bend, Indiana. But, for me, I can talk about it with this guy here. I'm excited to have him on the show. If you've heard our Notre Dame previews previously, he has been a staple of those shows. He is a Notre Dame grad. He is also a stand-up comic. If you're ever in Manhattan Beach, California, you need to check out Poncho's. Is it still Monday nights?
Yeah.
Is it? Yeah. It's still Monday.
10 years.
Every single Monday. This is a fantastic comedy show, and he is a hilarious comedian. I give you Danno Carter. How you doing, Danno?
I'm great, man. How are you? Except this guy just ruined the view. I set this whole thing up, but I'm good.
Yeah, you're sitting there, and look.
As soon as I come on, every time we had the circular saw out here.
If you're not watching on YouTube, youtube.com/the college experience, let me paint the picture for you. Danno lives in Manhattan Beach. He's recently married. He's very close to the beach. How far are you there from the ocean there?
Man, you could see before this guy. There it is.
There, yeah. If you're getting it, youtube.com/the college experience, folks.
He's
living the good life.
By JB Plumbing, even though they're Irish. Hey, maybe we are. All right, go, JB.
JB Plumbing, feel free to hit us up. We will do some ad reads. But Danno, how you been? You recently got married, man. Congrats.
True. Yeah, that's why I get to live here. Because my wife's a lawyer, and I do Poncho's comedy.
And she's a Notre Dame alum too, right?
No. She's a Davidson.
No? Okay. Oh, Davidson alum. Okay. Well, shout out to
really
the Wildcats.
About that new Steph Curry doc,
Yeah, new Steph Curry doc on Apple. So let's talk a little bit about the Irish, because we're going to dive into the schedule, the transfer portal, the offense, the defense, the special teams. But before I do that, I want your take on Marcus Freeman. Are you still? Did he exceed your expectations? Did he? Talk to me where you're at with the Marcus Freeman era.
Well, you have on record my expectations from last year, which I think I said we'd be undefeated, as I do most of these. So, but I thought I didn't think we'd lose to Marshall. I didn't think we'd lose to Stanford, but I didn't think we'd crush Clemson. So but I think he's doing great on the recruiting trail and giving us a much cooler image overall. Did you see the new video? The new jersey release video that came out with yesterday?
I did. Under Armour now, right?
It's another 10 years. I'm okay with that, honestly. Like, everyone wants Jordan. Everyone's bitching about that, but I don't want. We play UNC every year. I don't want their most famous alums logo on our jersey. Well, we play that.
Yeah.
You know.
You
don't have Montana's logo on our.
And I know we've shared some drunken conversations, and I don't want to go too far down this rabbit hole, but when we saw, I think after we recorded our episode last year, we saw like UCLA and USC jump to the Big Ten. There was this big thing on like, man, is the Big Ten gonna go for Notre Dame, or would Notre Dame go for the Big Ten? Where are you at with that? I know Notre Dame's currently working on a television deal with a lot of speculation that NBC/Peacock will be that. But do you think Notre Dame will be independent when this is all said and done still?
Well, I just saw today that the Big Ten might get Clemson, Florida State, Washington, and Oregon. That's like maybe pending, which would be crazy. But at that point, I think we could be like a diplomat between the two power conferences, just play each of them all the time. I don't see us really bending until we really have to. I like being independent. It's cool. Now, because I always we always get a California game. So selfishly, I always wanted us to have USC and Stanford. But now we get UCLA. Yeah. We get them in basketball too if we join the Big Ten. So I don't know exactly what to do. But I find everybody's always like, oh, we got to go get that money. Got to get that so much money in the Big Ten than if we were independent. Then NBC's going to but they're acting like we see the money.
Yeah.
So lumps, they don't give us the money.
Well, why do they care? I keep asking myself, like, okay, if everyone's scrambling for this, what is the perfect amount of money to build a college football winner? Because I get it. There's going to be this crazy disparity between the SEC, the Big Ten, and the rest of the college football landscape. But Notre Dame still has money. It's not like they're not making any money. So it's like, can you still build a winner and compete at the levels of the Big Ten and SEC? Like, I wonder where that threshold is of like, hey, if you're throwing $50 million into your football program, are you going to be able to be a top 10 team? I have no idea. I feel like guess what? I mean, since we've seen the SEC get this money already, Vanderbilt's still Vanderbilt. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know where, I don't know where, it's like an imaginary line of like, hey, well, if they're going to be making $60 million in their new TV contract and the ACC is only making 30, and it's like, okay, but does the ACC, is Notre Dame paying for a big time college football coach? That's irrelevant with the TV deal. You know what I mean? Like, if you're throwing money into your athletic department, then you should still be fine. I don't know. It's just, one of these things that it's going to be very interesting to watch. I hope they remain independent too, because I still want some certain college football.
People bitch about it, but it helps out the landscape of equivalizing a lot of different teams. I'm maybe more on board with not being independent now because I'm married, so I'm not independent anymore.
Fair. Look, we're gonna talk with Danno about the offense, the defense, the special teams. But before we do all that, we want to tell you that the Notre Dame Fighting Irish 2023 season preview episode is brought to you by the Sports Gambling Podcast Patreon. Yes, look, Patreon's perfect for our diehard DGens out there. Sign up for the Patreon to get access to an exclusive contest, including the NFL win totals contest, where first place will get $1,000 plus a monthly SGP Stories podcast. We have some great stories that we're dropping from our times hanging out with Mike Leach, Joe Theismann, as you saw in the introduction. There we have hung out with Joe Theismann. He's been on the show, a good amount of times. So go check out those episodes, but we'll tell you more behind the scenes. It's an ad-free, uncensored show highlighting the best stories from decades of being DGens. There's even a Discord channel just for our patrons. So Sports Gambling Podcast has and always will, by the way, give out their picks for free. We're not trying to take your money on picks. So this is just to support the network and fight back against all that corporate gambling out there. sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Patreon. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Patreon. Remember, as always, folks, to let it ride. All right, we are back on the College Football Experience, Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Now, Danno, our protocol that we normally do here is we grade the transfer portal. I'm going to rattle off who has left for those Notre Dame fans out there that perhaps, haven't been paying attention in the offseason, because college football, the transfer portal is absolutely insane these days. So I feel like who left first, and then we'll go with who's coming in. Yeah. Some teams that you're talking for like 10 hours because they've Colorado is just like, hey, let me just name players for 10 hours. But leaving South Bend, Indiana, Logan Diggs, a 4-star transfer get by Brian Kelly and LSU. I know you guys are loaded at the running back position, but that's got to be a little bit filthy that he goes to Brian Kelly. Tyler Buckner going to the Alabama Crimson Tide. I think that's one of the bigger stories in college football with that transfer.
Tommy Rees. These guys just follow.
Reunites with Tommy Rees. Yeah, and Buckner. What was your opinion of him? He kind of struggled a little bit last year. What'd you make of Buckner?
Well, I thought he'd be better. What I liked about him was he was half Asian, and at our game watches in Hermosa, there'd be like 10 Asian people would show up with no affiliation to the school, just cheering for him.
So he's global. It was a global recruit there just to add to get some more fans.
I mean, in the bowl game, he played well, but he also threw 3 picks. He wasn't like amazing.
I was surprised.
But I thought he was a much bigger recruit than he was hurt, so it's really hard to tell. The Ohio State game didn't even get a chance to really throw the ball. He could run well, and but he really gets to see the play.
I was a bit surprised that Alabama went for him. I know he had the connection with Rees, and everyone was speculating, but I was still
use him on like a 3rd down special play kind of situation. I think is what he's going to do. I don't think he'll be the starter though. That's what I would anticipate. Yeah. Wide receiver Lorenzo Styles Jr. transferred out to Ohio State, who was on the schedule this year. Offensive tackle Caleb Johnson. Yeah, and then he got pissed, right? And he's like, I'm out of here, right? Happens so often in college football. Offensive tackle Caleb Johnson heads out to SMU. Tight end Kane Barron goes to the Coastal Carolina Chanticleers in Myrtle Beach. Linebacker Osita Ukuano is in the portal. I don't think he's landed anywhere yet. Cornerback Jayden Bellamy heads out to Syracuse. Drew Pine started some games. He's now at Arizona State with the Sun Devils. I don't know. He was me at quarterback.
Yeah, you were just devastated to see him leave.
It was me. I think I could definitely beat him in a race. It could probably be throwing him, but I could beat him in a race in almost 4 years.
Danno Carter did start games at Notre Dame last season, folks. Do not, go back and watch. Don't adjust your sets. Joe Wilkins, also a cornerback, ends up at Miami, Ohio, and then Jacob Lacey on the. Yeah, he landed at Miami, Ohio. Chuck Martin stealing some of your talent. Defensive lineman Jacob Lacey also ends up with the Oklahoma Sooners. So that's what's left. That's what's gone and headed out of South Bend. But I think the big storyline here we're going to get to on what's coming into South Bend. What's that?
No question, the biggest story, the bearded man.
Yeah. The bearded man we're going to get to, because quarterback Sam Hartman from Wake Forest, who I was thinking about this pre-episode, Danno. Is he the best quarterback? And I know you had Brady Quinn, but Sam Hartman, is he the best quarterback since the 90s? Or do you think Brady Quinn level?
Well, statistically, Jimmy Clausen was really good. If you look at his numbers his junior year, I mean, he had Golden Tate, so maybe that helped. But his numbers, I think he threw like 28 to touchdown to 3 picks. So it was really good. Deshaun Kaiser had a really good season, but nothing like Sam Hartman. Sam Hartman's the all-time ACC leading touchdown leader and passing leader in yards. That's huge.
Yeah, absolutely huge get, and a lot of schools wanted Sam Hartman. I mean, a lot of schools wanted him, and they were able to get him. So obviously a huge get there. He's played a lot of college football, so super experienced. They also added running back Devin Ford from the Penn State Nittany Lions. Also cornerback Antonio Carter II from Rhode Island. Watch out, some of these FCS transfers can be sneaky good. Yeah,
I think he's going to be a starter. I think so.
Well, I know, like you say Rhode Island, and people say, huh? And look, Florida State, if you look back at Florida State's 10-win season a year ago, their best defensive player was a transfer, Jared Verse from Albany. And who knew that? Defensive end Jared Verse, stud. So watch out. Yeah, exactly. You can find some diamonds out there. Then they went out and got also Javonte Jean-Baptiste, a linebacker from Ohio State. Nice get there as they're on the schedule, as I alluded to earlier. Safety Thomas Harper comes in from the Oklahoma State Cowboys. Virginia Tech wide receiver Caleb Smith, and I think that's important to me. Like bringing in Sam Hartman, obviously huge, but I kind of thought the wide receiver position. Going back to that Stanford game, where Stanford wasn't a great defensive team, but they kind of just loaded the box and said, "Okay, have your receivers beat our corners." And I felt like that was an area of weakness for the Irish last year. So going out and getting Caleb Smith, who was a 4-star transfer by Notre Dame. Pretty good. You agree?
They had me throwing to them. So
yeah, that's true too. Yeah, that's true. That's fair. So also the Irish brought in kicker Spencer Schrader from South Florida. And that is, I believe, the whole list of who is coming into Notre Dame. So I would say if you get your starting quarterback and your starting quarterback's really fucking good, I would say you won the transfer portal despite on who left, right?
Yeah, I mean, Logan Diggs is a huge loss, but Hartman's like a 6-star get.
Yeah.
That's what Mike Brady used to say about getting a big-time transfer. Having a guy come back a 5th year would be a 6-star because it's like, so much experience. And I think that was a huge get. We haven't had if we had Hartman last year, I don't know how many games we would have lost, honestly. I don't know if we would have lost.
Yeah, no. It was a clear area of weakness a season ago. Now let me ask you this though, because Tommy Rees is gone. In comes in Gerard Parker, and he's kind of a mystery hire. It looked like you were going to get Andy Ludwig, the Utah offensive coordinator, but then Ludwig, I don't know what happened there, but Parker hasn't really had a lot of experience. He was a co-offensive coordinator of West Virginia for just a season. Last year's offensive numbers, 41st in scoring offense, 35th in rushing offense, 97th in passing offense, which goes back to what you alluded to about you starting at quarterback for Notre Dame last year. Total offense at 59th. What do you think? I mean, you bring in Hartman, but this is why I'm a little concerned. I think Hartman thought Rees was going to be the OC. And Rees bolts to Alabama when he gets that offer, and now you have Gerard Parker. I'm just a little bit of a red flag to me of like what is that? And is Hartman, had he already like got some NIL money so he was committed to Notre Dame? I don't know, but I was a bit surprised because normally the offensive coordinator is pretty influential in bringing you in via the transfer portal.
Yeah, I think Rees had a lot to do with that. But if Nick Saban comes calling,
can't blame him. Can't blame him.
I don't really blame Rees that much. I'm mostly bummed because I'm friends with his brother who used to get me sweet tickets. So selfishly again, like I lost tickets to Nick. He lives out here. He lives like a block away. Danny Rees. He's a good guy.
But are you concerned a little bit about the offensive coordinator?
I don't know anything about this guy. I don't know anything about this. But I trust Freeman really did his research and believes in him. So, you got Because I feel like coach, right? He was the tight ends coach, and who was our best player last year? Our tight end. Right?
Yeah, Michael Meyer. Yeah, and he's off to the NFL. So let's take a look. Let's dive deeper into the offensive side of the ball because obviously Sam Hartman coming in at the quarterback spot, and I'm going to count him as a returning starter. So I'm going to say 6 returning starters as opposed to 5, even though I know Hartman wasn't with the Irish a year ago. So yes, Sam Hartman. What's that?
Are you including Chris Tyree in there?
He is. I mean, that's interesting because he's moved to slot back. Yeah, so
I don't. But I think that's going to be a big difference, personally.
Yeah, and the running back position, they might have one of the strongest running back rooms in America. Notre Dame with how do I pronounce this guy's name again?
Audric Estime.
Yeah, Estime.
Estime.
Yeah, first team all independent from a year ago. This guy's a stud. I think he's going to be an Yeah. But still, he's going to be in the NFL, man. He's going to be like I think he's going to be a top,
and he's a good actor.
2 or 3 round draft pick. Chris Tyree though is moving to the slot back spot. I think that's worth noting. And then wide receiver Jayden Thomas is back, and then you bring in You bring in a slew of receivers, whether what I alluded to in the portal, and also Tobias Merriweather is one that I know they're kind of excited about, just a sophomore. Now the question is at the tight end spot, because Notre Dame's starting to turn into tight end U. Mitchell Evans, is he going to be able to hold it down in the same way that Michael Mayer was?
I mean, he had a game-winning catch in the bowl game, right? So
yeah,
Mayer didn't play in the bowl game, so I think it was him who had it. I'm never worried about us, the tight end. They'll be good. I don't know if there'll ever be a star like that.
Yeah.
Which bums me out that he didn't have a good quarterback last year with Mayer, but we'll be fine at tight end. Those guys I'm sure they're fine.
Now, the offensive line, that's one that I never worry about, because I'm like, wait, they only returned 3 starters? They might have the best 2 tackle. We were talking to Phil Steele this morning. Phil Steele was on the show this morning, and he said they might have 2 first-round draft picks. Yeah, your opener was Phil Steele, and he's sold on Alton Fisher at the tackle spot. Says they might be first-round draft picks, both of them. So Notre Dame might have. Yeah, Notre Dame might have like the best offensive line. They always just have guys on the offensive line, so I don't worry there. I think the real question will be, and that's another thing I should mention, is Sam Hartman ran the slow mesh at Wake Forest. Notre Dame,
great offensive line now.
Yeah, and Wake Forest's offensive line was terrible, but the question is I wonder if they're gonna try to cater to him running that system. He ran it so many years at Wake. I wonder if Sam Hartman can say, "Hey, we could run No, you think it'll be okay?"
I think that's part of the reason he transferred is because he wants to show NFL teams he can play in an NFL offense. So I don't think he'll do it.
Fair. Let's take a look on the defensive side of the ball, because the Irish 38th in scoring defense a season ago under Al Golden, the old Miami Hurricanes head coach. 36th in rushing defense, 23rd in pass defense, charting at the 21st best defense in the nation. And this is where I do get really excited. This is where I do think, if you're a Notre Dame fan, you say you return 8 starters on a defense that was very good a season ago. And honestly, like the fact that Cam Hart came back, he could have went to the pros. You really got a good, I think like a top 10 caliber defense here with Javonte Jean-Baptiste coming in from Ohio State. Howard Cross is back. Riley Mills back. Yeah, exactly. The Benjamin Morrison at the other corner spot, him and Cam Hart, 2 of the best corners. That's a great corner tandem to have. DJ Brown at the strong safety spot. And then your linebackers. I like Jack Kaiser and JT Bertland. You really got some good linebacker play there. Where you think the defense will put up better statistical numbers than a season ago?
We played better teams this year.
Yeah, that's the tricky the tricky side of it right there. Is I think the schedule's a lot harder this year.
Foskey was really good, but it's probably equal with that Ohio State. But I think the defensive backs are going to be really, really good, which is important against Ohio State, especially with their receivers. It's hard to tell. Defensive stats are tough for me to be like, it's all situational a lot, but we'll see. I mean, I don't think this defense would let Marshall score on that last drive like they did last year, so like that kind of stuff. Give up.
Fair.
Yeah, but Freeman's a defensive guy, so I don't know how much Golden has to do with it, other than kind of being the X and O's guys versus Freeman. I think makes the decisions on the defense.
Well, they do lose Foskey. They also lost Houston Griffith, the strong safety, and Bracey at the corner spot there. But I still love what's returning. I think Xavier Watts is one they're keeping an eye out at the free safety spot. That could really emerge. Kicker and punter are back as well. Spencer Schrader. Well, I'm sorry. Starter at USF. He's still starting, but he's at Notre Dame, so I can't say he's back at Notre Dame. And Bryce McPherson, the punter, is back, redshirt freshman. Also Ben Krim there as well. So 2 capable punters that will battle it out in case special teams plays a role. Look, we're going to talk about the schedule, and we're going to go game by game on the schedule and talk about the Irish and where we see them aligning in 2023. But before we do that, I want to tell you that the college football experience, Notre Dame Fighting Irish preview, is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Yes, the NFL season is right around the corner, and Underdog Pick'em is a great way to get down on a ton of NFL player props, and it's available in a ton of different markets. Plus, there are plenty of opportunities to win with daily MLB contests, and it's summertime. It's the only sport going right now, really. Of course, make sure to enter the Best Ball Mania as well, where first place gets $3 million cash. Head on over to UnderdogFantasy.com. Use that promo code SGPN for 100% deposit bonus up to $100. Once again, that's UnderdogFantasy.com. Promo code SGPN. All right, we are back on the Notre Dame Fighting Irish 2023 season preview. I am joined by Danno Carter, hilarious comic. And if you're ever in Los Angeles, make sure you hit Manhattan Beach. Ponchos is the place. Monday nights, absolutely great comedy show. I think one of the best comedy shows in LA. Danno, if the folks are watching on YouTube, they see here. Shout out to Cam Kerr, our graphics guy who built this. The win total sitting at 9. Ooh. I know you got them going undefeated every year, but the schedule's hard this year.
Really tough, yeah. We got to play Middle Tennessee State, man. Tough schedule.
Do you lean over right away? Got it. Okay. I did too. Without looking at the schedule, I just said, the over. But then I did look at the schedule a second. And I was like, let's get to it, because week 0, we're 3 weeks away essentially for Notre Dame and Navy doing battle in the Aer Lingus game or whatever the fuck it is in Dublin. This is a interesting game because Navy can't run the triple option anymore because the NCAA rules, but it's also interesting because Danno Carter will be in the house.
That's right.
He will be. He is making the trip. Yes, on his honeymoon. Let's talk about that for a second here. Let's dive deep. What did you have to give to say, honey, look, we're going to have a great honeymoon, but we have to stop by this Notre Dame football game?
I'll tell you exactly what I had to give. I said, as soon as you're going to a college football game with me, we'll go to Paris right after that.
Yes, that's the only way you could sell it, right?
I'm also close to Italy after that. Yeah. I'm in charge of the Ireland part of the trip, and then we go to
that's how you do it, huh? You're gonna go to the football game. But look, honey,
that's a good merge.
Yeah, we're gonna go to Paris right after. Everything's gonna be fine. I swear to God.
It's the day after we're going to Paris, and she gets to pick the hotels and the restaurants and everything. So.
There you go. Way to save the day right there. That's how to have a happy marriage. So Danno, if anyone's in the house, hit up Danno Carter, but go buy the guy a beer. Navy can't run the triple option anymore. I haven't heard that at all, because all
anyone says is that's going to be tough because we have to deal with the triple option.
No,
what?
So the NCAA made cut blocks illegal. So Army is working out of the shotgun. Air Force. I was at Mountain West Media Day in Vegas last week. I got a chance to interview Air Force's head coach Troy Calhoun, and he was talking about how he's got to go to shotgun. And Navy, the same thing. There might be some variations of the option out of the shotgun, but the old school triple option that is gone by the wayside, which is kind of ridiculous. I know Paul Johnson, the former Georgia Tech head coach, has been very outspoken that on defense we tell the players to go low for safety reasons because we don't want concussions. Why would we not do it on offense?
Hold on. Are you telling me that Navy will not be running the triple option against us?
Well, it's their own.
We'll win by like 70 points.
Well, look, they can't. They're still going to be doing a variation of the option, but out of the shotgun. It's still technically called the triple option because there's 3 options, but they're going to be working a lot out of the gun. That's why they went out and hired the offensive coordinator from Kennesaw State, because they ran that there. So
that guy's good.
Yeah.
They had a hell of an offense. Fuck. I'm screwed now. Why am I going to this game? They got that Kennesaw State offensive coordinator.
You're going to this game because it's in Dublin. You're going to this game because it's in Dublin, and you're going to be in Ireland, drunk, having a great time. I mean, come on. The game sells itself. Yeah.
This Kennesaw State guy, but I'm still going to have a good honeymoon.
Exactly. You're gonna be fine. You're gonna be in France, eating all this great food. All right, drinking good wine.
Ireland. Great food.
No, in France. Yeah. I said the next night you'll be in France. I'm not talking about the stew.
I have no idea, man.
Yeah. So Kennesaw State, get excited, and then.
But the main thing is, everybody says when you play Navy, the toughest thing is playing the next team because they beat you up so much. But if they can't do that anymore,
yeah.
It's not like,
it's going to be tricky to see that. I think all the service academies are kind of must watch to see how they pair with doing this.
Why did the NCAA come down on the service academies? That's all they have.
I completely agree. And when I interviewed Troy Calhoun last week, and he said this is simply to attack the service academies because their game times are shorter, and TV execs hate the fact that the game times run 2 hours sometimes because the clock's running because they run 30 straight run plays. Troy, I think it's complete bullshit too. I mean, this is like foundations of football.
It's how it started. Right?
Yeah, I know. It's just terrible. It's very.
Game one was the triple option.
Yeah. So absolutely ridiculous what's going on with the NCAA. So week 2, Eddie George is coming to South Bend. Did you know Eddie George was the head coach of Tennessee State?
Recently, I learned that. Yeah.
Okay.
Because I probably won't be watching because I'm in Europe, and every time I don't watch, we lose. So,
yeah. Will you still be in France, or where will you be on September 2nd?
Italy.
Oh,
yeah. I don't know how to be on Peacock. I don't know if I can get Peacock in Italy.
Yeah, go into the bar, the local bar wherever you're at, and ask if they have Peacock. See how that goes for you. But Danno Carter will be in Italy. They'll beat Tennessee State. That's the first
in Italian.
That's the first FCS game Notre Dame's ever playing. By the way, ever played.
I used to use that as every time people be like, "You guys don't play a 13th game." But you guys don't either because you play at the FCS school. But this is the Black Coaches Classic, which is like, all right. It's not happening again for a long time.
Well, if you knew the history on Tennessee State, just recently, I think in 2019, they found out that the state of Tennessee was hiding money from them. They were owed like over $1 million per year for like 100 years and didn't get it. So I think it's great that it's on the schedule, even though I normally think it's terrible to play an FCS. I like Tennessee getting this check and getting this, this will be, playing Notre Dame, playing at the Golden Dome. You know what I mean? All that exposure, I think is fantastic.
Cool. I wish we added we have 2 bye weeks this year because we play weeks here. I wish we just added another team just to even it out. That's what I think.
Yeah, fair. So I got him 2-0. I think you got him 2-0, and you'll be in Italy enjoying amazing food and stuff. But then, when do you come back? By the way, when do you come back on U.S. soil?
So I'll definitely be in U.S. soil for the NC State game. I mean, not be in California, but I'll be in the New York area or out here. I'm not sure yet.
Okay. So yeah, week 3 at NC State. Carter Finley. Man, NC State's actually one of the schools that has a winning record, I think, against Notre Dame. There's not many schools out there that have a winning record historically. This is a sneaky game because I feel like NC State is going to be – I was shocked that their win total was 6.5. I think NC State's going to be pretty good this year. They got Brennan Armstrong from Virginia. This is a game that –
2 years ago, and then last year he wasn't that good.
Virginia's offensive line was terrible last year, though. I think it was the worst in the country. So I actually think this game's
early game. I think it's probably 9 a.m. out here, 12 out there. Not about that, but I think we should win.
For some reason, whenever Notre Dame plays these September games in North Carolina, I always feel like it's a fucking monsoon. Like, I feel like it's always like hurricane weather.
Last time we played at NC State, it definitely was.
Yeah. I feel like when you play Clemson too, I feel like one of the times that Clemson was like crazy weather.
Insane. Yeah, that's true. But
I'm scared of that game, man. I would
put that as a worrisome game. If it's not crazy weather, what's Hartman done against NC State in the past? I actually don't know. I think that's what I would look.
I think he's done I think he's put up good numbers, but I think they've won the home games, lost the road games in that rivalry. But he puts up good numbers though, so that should be a good time. But NC State's supposed to have a really good secondary, one of the best in college football this year. That game could get interesting as Sam Hartman returns to the ACC.
It's definitely a real game, and I will definitely be watching that closely wherever. Yeah. But I still think talent-wise, with a really good quarterback, they haven't faced a defense like ours probably in a long time.
Yeah. So, yeah, fair. Central Michigan's the very next week. So I have the NC State game is like kind of a 50-50 game because I think with it being in Carter Finley, that's a great home field environment too. Central Michigan though coming to South Bend the very next week. Central Michigan in the MAC. Look, they might play them tough because it's a look ahead spot because Ohio State's on deck, but I think that's a win. So I think worst case scenario you're 3-1. Best case scenario you're 4-0. Then comes the Ohio State game where, man, Ohio State's I've never seen Ohio State with this many question marks, but here's the thing. They recruit incredibly well. So like, even though I don't know these next guys that are coming up at the, will they be fine at the quarterback spot? I haven't seen them have this many unknowns coming into a season in quite a while.
When was the last time they didn't have an elite quarterback? I can't think of it.
Yeah, it was a long time ago. It was a long time ago.
Had to come in. He won a national championship.
Yeah.
So said, why do we got to go to school? We didn't come to play school. We came to play football.
Hey, and I'll have you say, I'll have you know, when we had Phil Steele on this morning, he said, "I know Ohio State's gonna." Oh yeah, your opener, Phil Steele. He said, "I know Ohio State's favored, but I have it as a toss-up game." Phil Steele. Very high on the Irish this year. Go check out that episode, Irish fans.
He's a Notre Dame fan. He's like a big
yeah. So
all the big journalists, he's the biggest fan.
I have this. Look, I have Ohio State favored, so I got to put Ohio State. But I think it's possible.
Right, we played them well last year without really a good offense, and our defense showed up. Home game, night game. Green jersey game. I think we're gonna win it. I really do. I think we'll pull that one out. We're just due against them. We're just due. We beat them since the 50s. I don't think. So
there we go. 5-0.
Yeah,
5-0 for Danno Carter. I'm telling you, he's got him going. He's got him going 12-0.
Middle Tennessee State. So I would say 5-0 with the question mark over game because I won't be watching.
So after that, you got at Duke. Hey, don't look now, but Duke is good. Duke was 16 points away from being undefeated. 16 points away from being undefeated last year. Look that up. Mike Elko, great first year in Durham. That's a sneaky game because if you do beat Ohio State, you're going to be thinking, "Oh, we're the best," and then you head to Durham to take on a Duke team which returns 19 starters from a team that was very good a season ago. I got that as a win, though. I think Notre Dame will wear them down. I think first half might be close. I think that offensive line will wear down Duke.
Good, right? Who's their quarterback?
Riley Leonard. He's potential first round pick.
No, I think the Ohio State game can affect that either way, whether it's a win or a loss. Like it could be a demoralizing loss, and then we just can't get up for the next game, or it's like a huge victory and we overlook the next opponent. But I would put that as scarier than NC State to me, actually. Honestly, I gotta put that.
Okay. I mean,
ACC road game. I would put that higher.
Okay. What about the next one though? When they head to Louisville, back-to-back away, they're at Duke, then at Louisville, taking on Jeff Brom.
I don't know much about them. I know they have a new coach. It depends on the time of that game. I feel like a nighttime Louisville game is scary. A daytime isn't. And I don't think the time has been announced yet. But
yeah, I don't see a time on it right now.
I know I think Sam Hartman has worst game against Louisville last year. I think they're like
Louisville beat him. Last year.
Yeah, so that's scary too. I'd put that above NC State as well. This ACC road schedule wasn't tough because we have Clemson that.
This schedule is really brutal. I'm like, shout out to Notre Dame, but at the same time, like in a way, you're kind of like, what the fuck if we're trying to make the CFP? Because the next week you have USC, Caleb Williams, Heisman Trophy winner.
Here's a little story. A girl that did the show last night, who will remain unnamed, a comic. She was like, "I'm a professor at USC, and they basically told me I had to give this certain student an A or they wouldn't let me teach there. And this certain student may or may not have won the Heisman. And she just kept going on and like, all right, he won that. And then she like kept it anonymous. And then one of us was like, so you were teaching Caleb Williams? She's like, you're not supposed to say who he is. I was like, you just told everyone who he is. Like, this certain guy may or may not host Poncho's Comedy Night. This certain guy may host the college experience. I mean,
Caleb Williams, dude. This is the one though that I was thinking. This could be the win. This could be the
take us over USC over Ohio State.
Oh man, I feel
it's tougher than Ohio State this year, personally, because their offense is going to be so good. And I was at the game last year. And we were playing pretty well, but again, we had me at quarterback.
I think
they look better than us than Ohio State did last year, and I think they're going to be better this year, and I think Ohio State's going to be worse.
Fair. Okay, so 1-1 against Ohio State and USC at home. Is that fair? Is that a fair assessment?
Because we're at home and they're both night games. No, I'm still going with Middle Tennessee is the loss there.
All right, and then you get a bye week. One of the 2 bye weeks that's the benefit of playing a week 0 game, and then you host Pitt. This is right before Clemson. This is the one I circled.
That's so tough.
This is the one I circled, dude. This is the one. This is the one that's gonna fuck up to me the win total. Because when I saw this, I was like, oh man, they have Clemson on deck. They're gonna be thinking about Clemson, and then Pitt. I actually believe Pitt.
Biggest storyline here is right.
Yeah, Jerkovic back. Phil Jerk, and he said bad things about Notre Dame when under Brian Kelly. So
he said the Fighting Irish is like an offensive
term.
Irish people.
Jesus, stop it!
I think that'll actually be motivation to go. I think we'll actually crush them. I'm not actually scared, but based on the same build up when he was at BC, we played them, we crushed them. They didn't play. And that was with Ian Buck, I think, and.
But Pitt is a lot more talented than
just cultural appropriation, and it should be stopped.
Oh, stop it!
Yeah,
Jesus.
I have a whole bit about this. How people think of Fighting Irish. The leprechaun is as offensive as the Cleveland Indian mascot. It's like, what? They didn't steal this country from a bunch of leprechauns.
Oh, folks, get yourself out the ponchos every Monday night, except for obviously when he's in Europe for 3 weeks. But yeah, Manhattan Beach ponchos. Look, I think the Pitt game's terrifying because Pitt is actually really good in the trenches. They're good on the offensive line.
In a couple of preseason rankings, I've seen them like 22, 23. Like people think they're going to be good, and they're great in the trenches. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But they can bang with you though. He wants that win so bad. There's nothing that would make him happier to go in there and beat those people that took the Fighting Irish mascot and ran with it.
Those bastards.
Yeah, he committed to them. We didn't find it offensive until he didn't get the starting job. Then all of a sudden, God.
I love how he comes for that. What about what about Vikings? Vikings raped and pillaged for a long time. He doesn't mention that one.
Well, I mean, what if he's drafted by the Vikings? Then we'll see.
Oh, that would be great. That would be fucking great. Okay, look, between Pitt and then at Clemson.
I'll be right back.
All right. Yes, Pitt and Clemson. I think personally, guys, I know he's grabbing a beer. I'm hammering the under because at NC State, to me, challenging. The road schedule at NC State was a winning team a year ago. Louisville was a winning team a year ago. Duke was a winning team a year ago. This is a brutal schedule on the road too. So look, between Pitt and Clemson, I'm telling you, I think there's 3 losses on this schedule, man.
I mean, you didn't even, that's without mentioning Ohio State and USC.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So at Clemson on November 4th, do I need to remind people that Notre Dame beat the shit out of Clemson last year? So they have this one circled, I think. Man, I don't know. I can't take
that we beat the shit out of them last year. That makes me more confident.
Oh no, man, dude. I think Dabo doesn't lose normally like that. He'll normally lose by like one or like a field goal.
They like never lose at home, right? Clemson never loses.
That's what I'm saying.
At home, that's maybe the toughest place to play, like in the country. I mean, it's arguably.
No, it's up there. It's up there. Yeah. Then you get the second bye week, and then you're home to Wake Forest on senior night, which is ironic because senior night for Sam Hartman happens to be against his former team. Nice little scheduling quirk there, but Wake should have a setback. I think that's a win for Notre Dame. Notre Dame's defensive line will be a force, I think, in that game. And then they're at Stanford. Why does that Stanford game bother me too? Because Stanford sucked last year.
Who's our coach?
And they hired an FCS coach from Sacramento State. So he comes in. His name's Troy Taylor, and he runs like it's a finesse passing offense. But here's the thing: by you playing them on November 25th, I think if you want to play a brand new head coach, you normally want them in September. Now Notre Dame should be able to handle that, especially with their secondary. But it is a far ass trip out to play Stanford in one of those weird. Stanford's like a weird environment because it's sleepy. It's like no one goes to the games, So
when we went to the game a few years ago, there was nobody there. We went right up to the they tried to kick us out of the stands. They wouldn't at all. And my buddy Nick was looking. We were right behind the Stanford bench, and every player they had was named like O'Leary or O'Shea. He's like, "You should be on the Irish. What are you doing? You're an Irish player." The guy turned around and they're like, "What?" They could hear us. Emmett Smith was there because his son was being recruited, I think.
Yeah, no, his son starts for him still now. So watch out. But look,
he came up to us and he was like, "You guys are idiots, but this crew needs fans like you."
So let me ask you this though:
we will not lose.
How many losses are on the schedule? How many losses are on the schedule?
Middle Tennessee State, and that's it. I think. I'm optimistic that we can win every game, but that's pretty hard to do. And I think 10-2 is what I would actually advise people to bet on. And I think we'll win. I think out of Clemson, Ohio State, and USC, we may drop 2 of those. I think we beat everybody else.
I think it's a brutal schedule.
Yeah,
I think this.
I like that as a schedule because people always bitch about our schedule. Have you seen Georgia's schedule, man?
It's very weak, very weak. And Kirby Smart says this. They asked him on media day, and he's like, "Oh yeah, well come play it." And I'm like, "What does that even mean? You can't just go play Georgia's schedule. What the fuck kind of answer is that?"
What schedule, Georgia? I'll do that.
Yes, it's like, could we do that? If that's a thing, I think a lot of people would elect to do that. Look, I think
their recruiting is so good. I saw today they got the number 6 in the country long snapper.
How are they getting them?
No, that was actually an announcement. The guy actually made an announcement, and they were sharing it. We got this long snapper, number 6. And they're like, "Oh, are you guys proud of this?"
Got the number 6 long snapper. Look, I think the schedule's too tough, man. I really do. I think I think Notre Dame's going to be a lot better than they were a year ago, but this schedule is daunting to me. So I probably think, I think Vegas got the number right to me. I think they're probably going to go 9-3. But
do you ever think they get it really wrong? They're usually pretty close.
Yeah, they're pretty. Maybe with NC State this year with 6.5. I think NC State's going to be a lot better than that. And I don't really like NC State, so it pains me to say that. But folks, look, I think if you got to lean anything, I think this is one of the hardest schedules in college football this year. So I actually tend to think if I had to take a side, I hate to tell you this, buddy, but I think I lean under. Yeah,
I like a challenge. It's no fun when you don't play anybody good. It's way more fun to play good teams.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun to watch. But look, Danno's on the over, and he says you should bet the over because he says 10-2. So go out there.
My realistic me, not even realistic me, pessimistic me says 10-2. Realistic me says 11-1, and Danno says 12-0.
The 12-0, Danno says, look, before we get out of here, I want to play an interview from Michael Barker, who runs this college football page. He goes to like every college football game. So Danno, I'll let you sit there and consume that beverage for a few minutes here, because Michael Barker, who I mean, I'm telling you folks, this guy goes to like every single college football game. He handles a page. He's got a book in the works. So check out that interview I had with Dan. Here is college football campus tour. Danno's got his book in the works, and here we go. Joining me on the college football experience, Notre Dame Fighting Irish 2023 season preview episode is none other than Michael Barker. Folks, you're probably wondering who? What, Michael Barker? No, he's known as College Football Campus Tour to me. And what that means is he runs, I think, the best Twitter page out there in all the land at CFB Campus Tour. Michael has been to every single college football stadium in the FBS, a lot of the FCS. He's even been to D2, D3, and he tweets all of his experiences out via his page. And it's awesome. He does the photo of the game. He talks a lot about the history. It is just a super, super cool page. And he goes to like 5, 6, 7 games a week some weeks. It is super impressive to see the travel schedule. I don't even want to ask about how many times he slept in his rental car. But Michael, welcome to the show. I appreciate you hopping on to talk a little bit about Notre Dame Stadium, man.
Yeah, thank you for having me. My joke is put the name, the word hotel in whatever car model you have, and that's where you're staying. Hotel Camry, Hotel Accord. So, but every time you wake up and you didn't spend $150 on a hotel, it feels good. So, yeah, that's how we do it on a budget. But yeah, this is Notre Dame Stadium, absolute classic. Looking forward to chatting about this one.
Yes, I mean, look, you Google image this thing, and to me, I'm like, this is what a football stadium should look like. I don't care about all this shit in the NFL these days. Like, this is football to me. I look at the stadium and I say football. Tell me about the history of the stadium, man.
And I agree with you. It's interesting. There's all these tweets where these art and architectural accounts talk about cathedrals, like preserving churches. And I always quote tweet them and say, preserve the college football cathedrals. And Notre Dame is maybe the top one out there. So I'm totally with you. The stadium opened in 1930. It's called the house that Rockne built. They opened with 54,000 capacity, and it's jumped to 80,000 in 1997. In 2014, they had what was called the Campus Crossroads Project. And similar to Florida State, where they wrapped the stadium, they put 3 buildings, the Duncan Student Center, the O'Neill Hall, and Corbett Hall, around the existing structure. And it gives it that classic brick look, that facade that just gives it that castle feel, that cathedral feel. And one cool fact that I like is that there's no advertising or corporate signage allowed in the stadium. So for us guys who don't want to see that, we want to insulate college football from commercialism. That's a cool little feature at Notre Dame Stadium.
100%. 100%. They are doing it right with their football stadium. And yeah, look, I've been to the stadium, but I didn't get to go to a game. I was there in the off season, but I got to check it out, and it was fantastic. I thought everything about it was, to me, like I said, football. And I really need to get there for a game. I'm hoping that I get to this new 12-team playoff. I want to see Notre Dame hosting playoff games. And if that happens, I might have to hit up my guy, Danno Carter, who's a comic from Notre Dame that will be on this very show talking Notre Dame, but to see if we can get out there for a game, because, oh man, can you imagine a playoff game at Notre Dame Stadium, just a classic setting like this? I got to ask you, how many times have you been to the stadium?
So I've been there for one game, and it was 2018. It was part of a doubleheader, Eastern Michigan at 11 a.m. and then Notre Dame night game. It's only separated by about 2 hours. And they were playing Florida State, and they absolutely throttled them, 42-13. Just poured on the offense. And, something that stands out to me, it was not really football related, but it was in the crowd. There was a Florida State fan who was in our section who was screaming during the national anthem. he basically challenged the entire section to a fight, and about 15 guys stood up and got right in his face. And these Notre Dame fans, they were not playing around, and that guy got ejected before opening kickoff. And so that always stood out to me that, it's not just football and respect and tough-minded people on the field, it's also in the crowd. So I love that experience, and I'm hoping I have it on my schedule. You talked about hitting up your comic friend for some tickets. I'm looking to go to the Ohio State game on September 23rd. So we're going to have to dip a little bit into the credit cards to be able to make that work. But being able to, that might be the game of the year in college football. So I'm looking forward to having the opportunity to go to my second game at Notre Dame Stadium.
Hell yeah, man. Can you imagine a playoff game here, man? I mean, college football has been selling itself short for so long, even though they have these great stadiums. They keep playing these big time games at these terrible stadiums. And it's like, folks, can you imagine a home game? That's why I really lobby for them to do home playoff games for both rounds. Cause can you imagine a home game, in South Bend? It would just be insane. It would be absolutely insane, or the Big House, or wherever. It's just what college football needs to do. The thought of a Notre Dame home playoff game to me has me juiced up. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to spend money that I don't even have to get there to go to it, man. But curious your take on that.
Well, probably the worst game experience that I've ever had was at the last year's national championship at SoFi Stadium, $5 billion stadium. It rained inside the stadium. The quote unquote roof only covers 90% of the actual stadium. All the staircases and the escalators are exposed to the rain. People were slipping and falling. And I'm thinking to myself, why are we putting the most important college football game in a stadium that's not designed to withstand rain and weather? Let's go to a college football stadium like Notre Dame Stadium. Let's go to Beaver Stadium at Penn State. These places, they play in the snow, they play in the rain, they're below zero temperatures, the elements. So yes, you're sacrificing some of the corporate dollar, but people, like you mentioned, if you get a playoff game in Notre Dame, imagine Alabama coming there in December. You could charge $1,200, $1,500 a seat, and you're going to sell. So I'm with you. And, every time, from a college traveler perspective, I'm not trying to get the Houston Texans Stadium on my traveling resume. I don't care. But getting a home playoff game, I go to the FCS a lot, and they get home games in Montana and Idaho. And I went to the coldest game in South Dakota history last year for the semifinals, -6 degrees at kickoff. It was probably the most fun I've ever had at a game. So you're preaching to the choir here. If there's a playoff game in Notre Dame, we'll have to either find a way to sneak into a stadium, or we got to come up with some extra cash to get there. But it'd be definitely worth it.
Amen. I'll be like Michigan's NIL. Just go straight GoFundMe. Folks, give Michael Barker a follow. You heard what he's talking about. He was there at -6 degrees and watching South Dakota football. What a fantastic guy there. Just going out. That is football, man. That is football. As much as they want to take it and put it in a roller rink, the elements are part of it, and that's why I cannot wait for Notre Dame to be hosting playoff games. Folks, give him a follow on Twitter at CFB Campus Tour, because Michael, not only does he document all this, he does like the photo of the game. It's absolutely fantastic. And there's, even in the off season, he's going to check on the stadiums. He is the king of college football stadiums. Michael, I appreciate you hopping on the show, man. And like I said, one day, man, we're gonna have to meet up in South Bend. You take care, man.
Yeah, let's watch the playoff bracket. This will be a good one. So thank you for having me.
Michael Barker. And I got to ask you, Danno, home playoff games. Come on, man.
All right. Well, first
what
of
are we
all,
dropping?
That guy has an amazing job. And you couldn't find a guy that looked more stereotypical like a Notre Dame fan than that guy.
Oh, Michael.
I love the story about the game he's talking about is Brandon Wimbush played in that game because Ian Book got hurt. We wore the green jerseys, and that I remember exactly what he's talking about. But I have a similar story. My first game back to the stadium, I forgot I was in College Stadium again, and I was just like ripping shots. And I got immediately kicked out. And I was like wearing these green overalls, like painted green, And I got kicked out before the game even started. But then this fan, I was like, oh, God, I'm like standing outside the stadium. This fan's like, hey, man, I got an extra ticket for you. And he floated it down to me. And I was down there and I caught it and went right back in. And I was like, how the hell did you do that? Yeah,
Incredible.
That was pretty cool.
But tell me about the 12-team playoff.
Oh, that's a cool thing about us not being able to get the bye, right? No matter what, we're going to be in whether we're on the road or home. But the likelihood is, even if we're the number one team, we'd still be hosting a game. So we can't, like, that would be amazing. And you guys didn't bring up what the weather would be like there. Think about that.
Yeah.
December, right? Like
that
would be.
Dude. I'm not even. I have no connection to the school besides knowing Danno Carter. I'm going. Like, you give me a home playoff game. I mean, I'm sure those tickets will be insane, but we got to go, man. We got to go. I mean, there's no other way around it.
We could go this year, maybe. I could probably figure it out. The USC game's the only time you can fly LAX to South Bend direct without having to go to Chicago, and then they actually has a deal that weekend, which makes it way more convenient. So maybe we'll look into that.
There we go, folks. Give Danno a follow on Instagram. You see it right there at Danno Carter. And Danno, appreciate you hopping on the show. And man, enjoy that that Navy experience / your honeymoon. They ran out of beer last year at that stadium.
Not gonna happen this year. They know we're coming to town.
Don't tell your wife that they ran out of alcohol in the stadium.
No, she'll prefer that.
Okay, I don't know what to say then. Yeah, I'm sure they're not going to fuck this up because they know how many people are going to be there. But enjoy yourself, man. Congratulations on your marriage, man. And
it shows. People think soccer and rugby fans drink a lot. It's just not, like, obviously college football fans drink more than them. If the stadium wasn't even prepared for something like this.
Yeah,
and that was
Northwestern. Yeah, what? I don't picture Northwestern as just degenerates coming in there.
Right. But and Navy too. You ever party with Navy guys? Those guys.
Yeah. So
best comedy crowd you can have is a Navy crowd. Right?
Amen.
They party, but they behave themselves.
And to me, go down to San Diego, you see that all the time, right?
Yeah,
exactly.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. So, look, he's on the over. I'm on the under. Subscribe to the College Football Experience. We're at TCE on SGPN on Twitter. Give us a follow there too. But on YouTube, youtube.com/the College Experience. Get the SGPN app. It's free to download in the App Store and Google Play Store. And go check out the Phil Steele interview that just dropped. We also got some other great guests coming on. I think we're got Randy Cross of the San Francisco 49ers national championship, Super Bowl championships coming on the show soon. So check out all of that. Also come in the Discord and talk ball with us, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Discord. And until next time, folks, this is the Notre Dame Fighting Irish 2023 season preview. You better start thinking about yours. And we out of here. Run and shoot.